fellow Intrepids. Welcome to the program, Steve Clark. Good to see you, brother. Haven't seen you for a while. Barbie D, nice to see you. And this is the pre-show. I just have to make sure I got everything rolling here. Let's see, bada boom, that's going. Oh, I got to turn that down so I don't pick up feedback. Let's see, what do we got? Recordings will appear here. All right, I got to do a new session. And unless it's set to do its own thing. Pardon me as I fumble through this. I just got to make sure I am set up to do the right thing here. My schedule is in about 2 minutes, weekdays from 9:04. There it is. So it should record tonight's show. 9:04 to 9:57. That's for the archives for tomorrow night. So there we go. I think we are all set to roll. And let's see. Steve Clark, she's doing well. Thank you. Dave Potter. Hey, Uncle Dave. And hey, everyone. Delaney Pearl Jones. Good to see you, darling. Glad you're here. Nice to see you. I don't see as much of you as I'd like. So good to have you in here tonight. And I hope you are all doing well and living all day in high anticipation of this show. Just getting that in the right spot. There you go. All right. So you hear me okay? Hey, testes 1, 2, testes 3, 4. That's too many testes, if you ask me. Let's see. Hey, Grumpy Stack. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Uncle Dave is giving an ad for Target stores. Stay on Target. You can get all your stuff there. You know, I could live at Target. I don't know what other people think, but I could shop there. So, and buy almost everything I need there. So, let's see, Grumpy Stack, I'm doing as good as a dried out sponge. It's one of those days, huh? Man, I hear you. Go jump in the hot tub or something. You got a hot tub, right? Or if nothing else, a grease pit. Just warm it up a bit. Let's see. We got a minute, a little less than a minute to go before we go live. Hey, Matthew Sainsbury. Good to see you. And we're almost there. It's almost showtime. Hey, do you remember this movie from the late 70s? Dave, you should know this. If anybody else, Showtime. Showtime, folks. Great movie. It's a movie with Roy Scheider. If that's ringing any bells. All right, in a couple seconds here, we're going to go dark, and we'll be live in a minute. Hang on.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Well, happy Wednesday evening, folks. It is the 8th of June in the year of your Lord and mine, 2022, your Lord and mine, whether you think so or not. There he is. And I want to welcome you to the program. I'm your host, Scotty Roberts. This is my show, the Intrepid radio program, right here on Odyssey Radio. You can go to ODYSYradio.com for this show in its glory, and you can also hear archives of this show tomorrow night. They might be a day offset, I think. I'm not positive of that yet. We'll see. But you can go over there tomorrow and listen to just the audio version of this show. And if you're only listening to the audio tonight, you can come and join us in the simulcast. You can see the simulcast in video over on Facebook at the Odyssey Radio Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Odyssey Radio. And you can also come over to my YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. And, you know, every time I do that, I think of the way my old friend who we talked about last night, Carr Hagerman, did some voiceovers for our John's and my version of the Intrepid radio program 7-8 years ago. And he always said, and he announced us and this and this and that and that, and Scotty Roberts. So only with a better voice than I have. And so come on over to youtube.com/Scotty Roberts, and you can like the broadcast over there. You can subscribe to my channel. And if you'd really find yourself liking it, you can hit the little join button down below here somewhere, and you can join my channel, and you'll see 3 ways you can do that when you click on that. So welcome to the broadcast, everybody. Chase Corrington, good to see you. Your name stood out because I haven't seen you for a while over there in the chat room. Welcome. Glad to have you. Brianna Learman, she says she's doing good. Are you? I started reading your post on FB and got distracted with the show. Not sure if you were talking to me or somebody else. So welcome, Brianna. Welcome, Matt Finn, my first in command over on the chat room. Uncle Dave, Matthew Sainsbury, Grumpy Stack, Donna Reese, Ivy, good to see you. And everybody else who's over there, welcome to the program tonight. And those of you listening audibly, I can't see you. You can't see me either, because you're listening to radio, but welcome to the program. And tonight we're going to pick up with our meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I really am enjoying this because it shows you, we sometimes place the ancients in a different context. We don't think about how they spoke and how they wrote and the things they said and did. But Marcus Aurelius, I think, despite a few little chinks in the way we say things, even though despite this is a modern translation into more modern English of his meditations, they said things a little differently, phrased sentences a little differently, but and of course made references that some of us may know nothing about. But I find his writing highly inspiring because he hits on all those things we all think about. I have said very few times about very few authors that I think they hit on the things of life that cross all boundaries. One such person was, of course, Poet Laureate of Ireland at the turn of the last century, 100 years ago, William Butler Yeats. Poet, but he expressed just about every emotion you could think of. And I really enjoyed his work. So I've said that about him. I say it about Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius wasn't sitting down and going, methinks I shall write an inspirational book for the masses, for the centuries to come. No, he wrote a book. He didn't even write a book. These are his notes to himself that he compiled and kept. And they were recompiled later and put into as chronological a form as they can into this book. And you're going to find a lot of good things in it. And some of it might weigh you down and bog you down a little bit. But I think it's really inspiring for all of us. Now, before we get started on the meditations, I was going to read you a little bedtime story, but I don't want to put you to sleep yet. It's one you've heard on this show before. Now, like my kids, like 3 nights a week, they used to ask for the same book over and over again. And so I'm only going to do this because I made a few edits on it. You know, The Sword and the Clay came out last month, and we're getting orders in for those, and they're shipping out. And I have a book I started before that I had just signed, which I'm now getting back into side, finishing my book for my friend Andy, his book. And that is How to Be an Archaeologist. And I finally took this. I went and visited my academia.edu page, academia.edu. And if you go over there, you look up Scotty Roberts. I think it's under Scotty Roberts. But I hadn't posted an article there in years, just because I haven't been over there and I haven't done a lot of writing in the last few years as far as articles go. So I wanted to go in and put something up, and I thought, a good thing to do might be to put the text of that book up and open it up for some discussion with some of the archaeological people I meet over there and so on and so forth. And I actually read a portion of this to John Ward the other day. We were talking on Messenger, and I read a portion, and he said, "That's my story," because part of this story I took from some of John's, what would be his biography if he had one. He told the story of, I asked him a long time ago for an article I wrote for Intrepid magazine, how did he get his start? What was his inspiration to become an archaeologist? And he said he was playing with his friends in the River Cray, which ran through his town, and just wading in the waters, and he found an old pipe, and it was a meerschaum pipe. And he had no idea who was on it, and he took it, he washed it up, cleaned it, and found out it was Admiral Lord Nelson, whose head was on the pipe. And this was something that inspired him at a very early age to start looking at stuff. So he kept going back to the river, looking for artifacts and stuff like that. And as he grew up, he never went to the formal education to become a doctorate in archaeology, but he traveled to Egypt and he did a lot of things over there. And that's how he got into what he was doing. And so I grabbed the text of that book and I put it up, and I want to read it for you again tonight. Because, you know why? I like it. I read through that and I made a few textual changes, things that didn't seem to flow very well or rhyme the way I wanted it to. This was a book I wrote for kids, but for adults to read to their kids. So adults will read it and get it and understand it and enjoy it. And I want you to hear this. Matt Finn, everyone loves a treasure hunt. Ain't that the truth? And that's really what archaeology is. They want to spin it as, it's academic and so on. But as John's wife, Maria Nilsson, Dr. Maria Nilsson, who is the head of their Egyptian archaeological mission at Gebel El Silsila, she said to me once about 8 or 9 years ago in Egypt, when I had that experience at the tomb of Senenmut, not the vision at the stepped pyramid, but that experience at Senenmut's tomb in Luxor. And she said afterwards, she saw how emotionally reactive I was to it. She says, "Scotty," in her sweet little Swedish voice, she said, "I want you to go back down there to the tomb," she says, "and ask for clarity and for what you just experienced." And she said, "Remember," she says, "here, I am an academic, I am a scholar." She says, "Back home in Sweden," she says, "I am a witch." She said, "So go down and do this." So I did. And this is this little book, and I wrote it. I want to read it to you. I want you to enjoy this again. If you haven't heard it now, you're not going to see the pictures with this. That's what's going to make the book. Rainey says, "Why would you read that?" Well, let people buy it and read it. Well, you'll still buy it because you'll enjoy the book. You'll want to have the book, and you'll want to have the book with the pictures. You'll want to have the book in a hardback to put on your shelf. So it's not a long book. It's a kid's book. So everybody prep yourself. If you've heard it before, that's okay. Hear it again. And it'd be like, Dad, read us that book about the guy and the pipe and Egypt and all that. That's what I'm going to do tonight. So it only takes about 15 minutes or so to read that, and then we'll jump into the meditations. So steel yourselves. Here we go. This is how the book goes. How to be an archaeologist. You had no idea you were just out to play, wading in the shallows of the river that day, when your bare toes dislodged it, broke it loose from the clay, a pipe carved in meerschaum, 100 years in the cray. It away off the bridge in your town that spanned River Cray. The pipe sank to the bottom, and for the next 100 or so years lay quietly waiting for you to appear. The pipe's stem was broken, the bowl caked with muck. The hand-carved face was intact. What luck! A man with a bicorn hung over his brow looked you straight in the eyes and implored you somehow to take the first step on a path that would lead to the rest of your life and your life work's creed. With your riverbed find tucked deep in your pocket, he was up to the town. You sped like a rocket, where there on the corner of High Street and Crockett was a curious old shop where the keeper's old docket could surely tell all of the pipe in your pocket. Sure enough, it was old and much older than old. It was ancient, antique, and bore history untold. The face on the bowl was of Admiral Lord Nelson, whose defeat of the fleet of Napoleon had won him great honor and glory, and a statue on a column, and even his face on a pipe carved in meerschaum. So much to be learned, so much history discovered from an old ancient pipe that you found underwater. And what of the artist who took time to create it? What were his reasons? Why did he not date it? For whom was it made? Was it something important? Could these questions be answered, or would they ever remain dormant? Carefully, delicately, you clean off the tarnish, add a new stem and light coat of varnish. Up on your bookshelf, you set up a display where it will stand and remain until that one day when the right time arrives to light it and smoke it. Only you will know when, and you will not postpone it. Soon middle school came, then high school too. Homecoming was fun and football was cool. Phi Beta Kappa and the activities of college took a distinctive back seat to exploration and knowledge. You wanted to know things. You wanted the answers. You needed your bachelor's degree to advance your academic, educational, scholarly compliances. History, anthropology, geography, and the sciences, mathematics and literature were stepping stone reliances that would ready you, steady you, and give you the tools to pursue your life's goal. You must follow their rules. Your home away from home was the library on campus. It was there that you researched and studied your arse off. You had fun with your mates. You drank plenty of beer. You had to do something that helped you to steer people away from thinking you overly freaky. Your focus could make you come off rather geeky. Not to mention your studious pallor. So creepy. But you were, after all, following the steps of Lou Leakey. Archaeology isn't just digging in the dirt. It's not always about treasure, adventure, or curse. It's the study of people and their material remains, and it even goes back to prehistory days. Sometimes it's in writing or carvings or inscriptions, on temples and shrines and graves of distinction, but oftentimes you find it only in pieces of pottery, papyrus, clay fragment, or feces. Everything tells the story of our past, but you need to be ready with the knowledge you've massed. Knowing stuff in your head is only the beginning. There's the other stuff, too, and it's just the first inning. Now that you've nailed your BA to the wall, it's time to get serious, your mind on the long haul. of earning your master's, writing papers and theses, of travel and internships working as an assistant. Anthropology, it said, is the study of people, how they hunted and farmed, built monuments unspeakable. You study ancient languages and decipher religions, examine statues and pottery and tribal divisions. From the Maya to the Aztec, the Anasazi and Hun, the Indus Valley Migration and Ancient Greece 101. You absorb all the books, take your tests and read papers, siphoning all that you can from these academic capers. Soon the curricular mist of your scholarship part. You hear the call of the ages through the dynastic haze. The riddle of the Sphinx reaches through the malaise. The voices have spoken, the gods have regaled you. Despite all the piffle academia gave you, to the gods, demigods, and spirits of the dead, to the land of the pharaohs you know you must head. A handful of years have now passed through your journal. Abu Simbel and Khufu only lent you a kernel of the grandeur that lies neath the sands neath your feet. The final step has begun for your beginning to complete. Identified and applied and now signed with the ministry, you've been granted permission to uncover history. A shovel in one hand and a trowel in the other, your third hand extended to a benefactor and sponsor. At long last you stand in Ra's blazing simmer, sinking your spade into your own quest for treasure. You won't find it in books. They don't teach it in school. The universities won't break with their cardinal rule that says it's all science, just history, nothing more. They give you lectures and letters, then matriculate you to the door. But it's there, in that moment, after years of hard work, of reading, writing papers, and digging in the dirt, that you find yourself breathing the air of the ancients. You've moved rocks, sifted silt, and now you finally face it. Eternal life, it was written, resides in the name. Remembrance and utterance is the name of that game. So you drop to your knees, assuaging your fears. And assuaging your fears. And for the very first time in thousands of years, you gaze into eyes that shed only stone tears. Your fingers brush lightly on glyphs carved so bold, and there on the lintel where in antiquity was told the story of this man, now 3,000 years old, in the recounting of his life and his deeds of great fame, lay the resurrection to be found only in his name. His face to your face, your words to his ears. You speak out his name, not uttered in years, and the statue before you breaks free of its bonds, reconnecting with life in the light of the gods. When the din of discovery has settled and flown, you return to your cottage on the river back home. There's so much more work, so much more to uncover. You know you'll be restless till you return in November. For the next 6 months, it's all about writing. You must catalog your season and publish your findings. On your way to your study, you get a glimpse in the mirror. The ruddy young lad you no longer see there. The man reflected is a sun-leathered tan, whose temples are flexed with the color of sand. It's time, you say to the glass with a smile. Lord Nelson's been waiting for a very long while. So there you go. That is How to Be an Archaeologist. And I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully in the upcoming weeks here, I'll be finishing all the illustrations on that book, which were set aside to do The Sword and the Clay, then set aside again to do Andy's book and other projects that came in the way. And so we're jumping into this and trying to get this thing done so it will be ready for you all. And it's going to be published in a hardback, which is a good thing. I think. Hey, Rainey.
Hey, Scott Roberts.
How you doing? Rainey Roberts. Come over and say hi. Hey, everybody. What a surprise. It's my wife.
Hi.
How you doing? Did you have a good time?
I had a good time.
Good.
Got everything cut up.
Fantastic.
We now have Hayden, Graydon, Braden, Damon,
Hayden, Graydon, Baden, Daden,
Waylon.
Hayden, Faden, and Waden. And
all
Waylon.
spending the night.
Tonight?
Yep.
Oh.
Hey, if we're going to have one, we might as well have two.
Hey, Hayden, Braden, Graydon,
Hayden,
Waylon, and Flynn.
Caden, Jaden.
And Caden and Jaden, too. Seriously. What happened there?
But it's Braden, Graydon,
Braden, Graydon,
Damon,
Dame,
Waylon, Flynn. I think that's it. And Isla spending the night with Ro.
and Isla, the odd man out.
Odd gal.
Odd gal.
She's spending the night with Ro.
So, thank you, Chase, by the way. I love the ending of that, too. So, I got to carry on here because I got to do my show.
Yeah, have fun. Well, you're the one who
But
said hi.
I did. Well, I always want you to come in and say hi. So,
So I'm going to take the girls. I guess we have to go to Walmart because I promised we would go to Walmart today.
it's 9:30. Well, at least it's summer. They don't have to get up for school tomorrow.
Right.
Well, you have fun
I
going to
We'll
Walmart
have a blast.
with all the girls.
Just know that at some point it's going to get really loud because those boys aren't home yet.
We got a half hour left on radio, and then we go to the captain's cabin.
We only
so.
have a 5-seater car, and I had 8
That's
kids
Friday,
to
Uncle
bring
Dave.
home. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
How many seater is our car?
5. That's
5.
It.
And we had how many kids in there?
Well,
13.
on the way there, only 7.
On the way there, 7. I miraculously
On the
came
way
back with 9.
Yeah.
So,
Anyways.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, outstanding.
Yeah. Bye.
You go have fun shopping at Walmart.
I will.
All right.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Love you.
I
Love
love
you
you too.
all.
I love you too. Bye. Mwah.
Have fun.
I didn't even make contact with my lips even. How about that?
Smack me with your nose instead.
Smacked her with my nose. So it's always nice to have Rainey stop into the show. I love it. And thank you for that. I appreciate it. Same thing every day, guys. I'm no different. I'm a guy. I love it. And my wife knows I love it. So my wife takes advantage of me off screen. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Checks in the mail. All right. Yeah, that's this Friday, Dave Potter. That's Pea Soup Days. Abby and Bree, my twin daughters, Brianna. They're going to be here on Friday evening, and they're going to stay here Friday and be here all day Saturday. Go to Pea Soup Days with us and the little carnival that's on, the carnival is a typical roadside carnival setup, and then they have some things to do on Sunday.
Right.
So, what are you doing?
So come on down. Join us.
Come on down.
Buy some pea soup and support the local Boy Scout troop. Yay.
Yay, Pea Soup Days. So, right here in Somerset, Wisconsin, hop aboard your plane and get here. All right, let's get into the meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Now that we are at about halfway through the show, a little bit. And by the way, Dave, I'm on target. This was planned. So we're going to jump into the meditations of Marcus Aurelius. And remember, when the show ends, when we exit the show, you can stick around in the chat room, and we're going to pick up with the Captain's Cabin, our post-show, our afterglow, where you can bask in the presence of the captain and each other. So that's coming up at the end of the show. So if you're listening just audibly on the radio, be sure to stick around. You can join the conversation with the chat room, all the fellow Intrepids over there after hours, so to speak. So Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. Many people became first familiar with him during the movie Gladiator. He was played by Richard Harris. And in the movie, they have his son Commodus murdering him in his sleep. So Commodus himself could become emperor because, according to the fictional plot, Marcus Aurelius was planning to have the main character of the movie, Maximus Decimus Meridius, become the next interim Caesar. And some of the unspoken in the movie, which we covered a little bit of that history a few days ago, was that even Marcus Aurelius started out his reign as emperor as a co-regent with his stepbrother. And so he was planning to do the same. He was going to pass this on to Maximus in the movie. And there is some historical basis to that. While Maximus is a fictional character, he's a composite of a couple of different people, and we covered that the other night, that were friends of Marcus Aurelius's, loyal subjects of his, loyal friends. And it's very possible that he was thinking of doing, there's speculation that he was going to pass the emperorship onto them, or one of them, to become the interim emperor, and to reestablish certain things about Rome that he think needed to be done. And that fictionally in the movie, Commodus caught wind of this and killed his father, and said his father declared him the next emperor. And of course, we know the story, the plot, if you've seen the movie. And now we don't know that Commodus murdered his father, but there is some suspicion of that. Because Commodus was not half the emperor his father was. He was much more, you could say, an immoral man compared to his father. So these are the things we know about Marcus Aurelius very quickly and superficially. And he wrote his Meditations as a compilation of many years of just gathering his notes to himself. And that's what these were all about. And so we're going to pick up where we left off. We're in the first section of the Meditations. And remember, this doesn't flow like a book. It's all his different thoughts. And we're going to make some commentary on it as we go. But we left off, he's talking about debts and lessons. And these are debts and lessons that he ascribes to the people in his life. And he's gone through many of them already. We're at 15 with his friend, coincidentally, we were talking about the movie, his friend Maximus. And here's what he gleaned from Maximus. Now, listen to these things. Would you love to have friends that are like this, that you could take? What if you were to take your notebook and start writing down the names of your friends, and then don't editorialize it, but write down the things that you've gleaned from them? I challenge you to give this a try. Take out a notebook tonight or tomorrow. Start jotting down your friends, your family members who you believe have influenced you, and write the things down that were your debts to them, so to speak, or the lessons that you've drawn from them, positive or negative. The things that sometimes you get a lesson from somebody and it's a negative thing, but it's taught you how to do things a different way than what you watched them do. So here it goes. This is friend Maximus. He says, here's what he learned from Maximus: self-control and resistance to distractions, optimism in adversity, especially illness. Do you get adversity? Are you optimistic about that? Marcus Aurelius attributes learning optimism in the face of adversity from his friend Maximus. He's a personality in balance, dignity, and grace all put together. Doing your job without whining. I got to do that. I try to impress that upon my children every day when we wake them up for school. I don't want to go to school. I hate school. I ain't going. I don't care about school. I said, it's not about any of that stuff. I said, nobody asked you if you cared. I told you, you need to get up and go. You need to face your responsibilities without whining. So doing your job. I've told my kids, you see me do my job all the time. Yeah, I whine sometimes. Sometimes I think, I can't believe that client is changing that thing again. It's costing me more money to make their changes, because the only time it ever costs me money, by the way, is when I don't tell them up front, because I don't expect there's going to be changes. And sometimes I just don't even think about it. It's like, if you make a change, you get 2 free changes. If you change it beyond that, I got to start charging you. Because, I just have to make about a 20% change in this. And, I know you did this and that and the other thing, but I need you to make it this way. And it's really 100% change. So I face that all the time. And it makes me whine. So doing your job without whining. Other people's certainty that what he said was what he thought, and what he did was done without malice. Never taken aback or apprehensive. By the way, the people that suspect you the most of acting out of some subterfuge or hidden malice to meet your own ends, when they have nothing to go on, those are generally the people that think that way themselves about their own actions, and they project that onto you. And I pull that from in psychology, and when we dealt with people in troubled marriages, we would say usually when a spouse is constantly suspicious or doesn't trust their spouse, thinks they're having an affair on them, or every time they're gone longer than they said they should be, or you don't know or whatever, or you don't know all the people that these suspicious people will attribute. I think my husband or my wife is having an affair. Usually, the people who suspect that and act that way the most are the ones that are covering up the fact that they've either had those thoughts themselves, or they're doing it themselves, or have done it themselves. It's like with my wife. I trust her implicitly. You know why? Because I don't do shit. And I think she trusts me implicitly because she knows I don't do shit. And so this is, I think, what he's getting at here, too. There's that certainty that what he said he was there was a certainty that what he said was what he thought, and what he did was done without malice. Never taken aback or apprehensive, neither rash nor hesitant, or bewildered or at a loss, not obsequious, but not aggressive or paranoid either. Generosity, charity, honesty. Do you have people think those things about you? Do you have the kind of life you live that people could say something like this about you? The sense that he gave of staying on the path rather than being kept on it. He stayed on the path rather than kept on it. There's a big difference. Do you see what that subtlety in language is there, in words? He stayed on the path, wasn't kept on it. And that no one could ever have felt patronized by him or in a position to patronize him. He had a sense of humor. This is what he said about his friend Maximus. I would love people to be able to say things like that about me. Instead of, he was a dick, you know? He was hot-headed. He didn't shut up. Whatever. Talked about his wife's boobs way too much. Or whatever it might be. I want to be remembered in a certain way. And of course, when you die, everybody, what was it, the line from Shakespeare? Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. This is Brutus speaking of Caesar after he's assassinated. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred in their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. But if it were so, it were a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here am I under leave of you and the rest to deliver these words at Caesar's funeral. And he spoke about him as being his friend. When people die, what do? We eulogize them. We always think of them in better ways. You even hear, everybody. You see things in the news. Oh, yeah, Bob lived next door. He was shot. He was a great guy. Or even, mass murderers. Little Philip grew up here next door, but boy, he was always a nice kid, and he always cleaned up our yard, and we never thought he was capable of this. So the good is often interred in their bones. So what are you going to be remembered as? The way you are remembered are the things that you do in this life to make sure that people know who you really are. The things you set up, your actions will speak forever about who you are. Like in the archaeology book, the eternal life was in the eternal name. You uttered the name and read the deeds on the lintel. Number 16, my adopted father. I read this one a couple of weeks ago, or way at the beginning of last week, because I thought it was really good, and I wanted to give you a taste of the meditations. But here's what he said, Marcus said about his adopted father. Compassion. Unwavering adherence to decisions once he'd reached them. Indifference to superficial honors. Hard work. Persistence. Listening to anyone who would contribute to the public good. His dogged determination to treat people as they deserved. A sense of when to push and when to back off. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to. It's basically what he's saying. You never thought that Kenny Rogers wrote a version of the Meditations, did you? He put a stop to the pursuit of boys. He put a stop to the pursuit of boys. I think you can read into that what you want. Remember, Roman society was very libertine. So, especially in the upper classes. His altruism, not expecting his friends to keep him entertained at dinner or to travel with him unless they wanted to. And anyone who had to stay behind to take care of something always found him the same when he returned. His searching questions at meetings, a kind of single-mindedness, almost never content with first impressions or breaking off the discussion prematurely. His constancy to his friends, never getting fed up with them, never playing favorites. He had self-reliance always, and cheerfulness, and his advanced planning well in advance, and his discreet attention to even minor things. You see, he's just making a list. He's thinking through, these are the things about my stepfather that I learned and that I admire. His restrictions on acclamations and all attempts to flatter him. Oh, stop now. Stop. Really. No, really stop. His constant devotion to the empire's needs. His stewardship of the treasury. His willingness to take responsibility and blame for both. His attitude to the gods. No superstitiousness. You hear that? His attitude to the gods. No superstitiousness. That seems a paradox, doesn't it? And his attitude to men, no demagoguery, no currying favor. Always sober, always steady, sober-minded, I think he means. Always sober, always steady, and never vulgar or a prey to fads. The way he handled the material comforts that fortune had supplied him in such abundance, without arrogance and without apology. If they were there, he took advantage of them. If not, he didn't miss them. No one ever called him glib or shameless or pedantic. They saw him for what he was, a man tested by life, accomplished, unswayed by flattery, qualified to govern both himself and them. What a great thing. Could you imagine, could we say that about our own leaders in this country? His respect for people who practiced philosophy, at least those who were sincere about it, but without denigrating the others or listening to them. His ability to feel at ease with people and put them at their ease without being pushy. His willingness to take adequate care of himself, not a hypochondriac or obsessed with his appearance, but not ignoring those things either. With the result that he hardly ever needed medical attention or drugs or any sort of salve or ointment. This in particular, his willingness to yield the floor to experts in oratory, in law, in psychology, whatever, and to support them energetically so that each of them could fulfill his potential. There was something Ronald Reagan said once, and I don't remember the exact quote, but he said, he was talking about the humble leader or the modest leader or something like that. He says, is somebody who will recognize the gifts in others and in essence give them the floor. I think Reagan must have read the Meditations. Because he said some of the same things. Give people credit where credit is due. Don't soak it up for yourself. That he respected tradition without needing to constantly congratulate himself for safeguarding our traditional values. Not prone to go off on tangents or pulled in all directions, but sticking with the same old places and the same old things. He wasn't prone to go off on, sorry, I just read that one. The way he could have one of his migraines and to go right back to what he was doing, fresh and at the top of his game. That he had so few secrets, only state secrets, in fact. He didn't work in secret. I wish you could say that about our leaders today. They don't work in secret. They're in the open, other than state secrets that need to be kept. And by the way, not everything has to be out in the open. There has to be some state secrets. But at the same time, he was somebody that was very open and let the people know. The way he kept public actions within reasonable bounds, the games, building projects, distributions of money, and so on, because he looked to what needed doing and not the credit to be gained from doing it. Lucy, shut it! Hate that when the dog just sits there. She sees a squirrel or something out the back window, and she'll just sit for the next 20 minutes going, bark, 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 bark. Oh, and they left her down here and closed the door. So she's here in the street. Shut it! Dog! All right, sorry about that. Familial interlude with the animal. Let's see. Where was I? No bathing at strange hours. Something you learned from it. Hold on, folks. I'm going to step away from the mic and let this dog go out of the room. There you go. Bye. All right. I didn't go far. I'm still here. I had to wander away from the microphone to let the dog upstairs so she's not making noise down here. So no bathing at strange hours. Do you bathe at strange hours? Do you shower at strange hours? No self-indulgent building projects? I'm curious how he put those all in one sentence. Not bathing at strange hours, no self-indulgent building projects, no concern for food or the cut and color of his clothes, or having attractive slaves. Slave? Do your hair. The robe from his farm at Lorium, most of the things at Lanuvium, and the way he accepted the customs agents, apology at Tuscany, etc. Tusculum, sorry, etc. Sean Stroik in the chat room just caught him out. It's good for you, brother. Let's see. About his stepfather, he goes on, he never exhibited rudeness, never lost control of himself, never turned violent. No one ever saw him sweat. Don't ever let them see you sweat. Remember that old quote? I think they used that in an underarm deodorant ad back in the 80s or something like that. Never let them see you sweat. Mitchum, buy it today. I didn't put on deodorant yesterday, and I may not put it on again today. Remember those ads? I think that was Brute or Mitchum or something like that back in the 70s and the 80s. Anyway, no one ever saw him sweat. Everything was to be approached logically and with due consideration in a calm and orderly fashion, but decisively, with no loose ends. You could have said of him, as they say of Socrates, that he knew how to enjoy and abstain from things that most people find it hard to abstain from and all too easy to enjoy. He had strength, perseverance, self-control in both areas, the mark of a soul in readiness, indomitable. And then he has in parentheses Maximus's illness. So now he speaks about the gods. This is a bit of his spirituality, perhaps. from a philosophical Stoic point of view. He said that I had good grandparents. He's thanking the gods. The gods. What am I indebted to them for? That I had good grandparents, a good mother and father, a good sister, good teachers, good servants, good relatives, friends, almost without exception, he says. And that I never lost control of myself with any of them, although I had it in me to do that, and I might have easily, but thanks to the gods, I was never put in that position and so escaped the test. Look at this. This is Marcus Aurelius, a completely secular man, a philosopher. One might even deem him a bit of an atheist by today's standards, but he still believed in the God, what was going on. That I wasn't raised by my grandfather's girlfriend for longer than I was. He's thankful for that. He's indebted to the gods that he wasn't. It says right here. Now, this is more, I suppose they use the terms, it's your girlfriend, I see. You see, Caesar? I see, Maximinius, that you have a new girlfriend. It's his girlfriend. You got a girlfriend. Caesar saying that. I don't know. He says, I thank the gods. I'm indebted to the gods that I wasn't raised by my grandfather's girlfriend for longer than I had to be. That I didn't lose my virginity too early. And that I didn't enter adulthood until it was time. I put it off even, he said. So, wouldn't those be interesting stories about the Caesar to find out what all was going on with him? So, folks, we've only got a couple of minutes of the show left before we end on the radio, so I'm going to try to wrap this section up. He says, what else is he thankful to the gods for? Indebted to them. That I had someone as a ruler and as a father who would keep me from being arrogant. Remember the prayer that Reuben Fasthorse gave us? That prayer that says, keep me safe from my greatest enemy, myself. And let me have straight eyes. He says here that I had someone as a ruler and as a father who could keep me from being arrogant and make me realize that even at court, you can live without a troop of bodyguards and gorgeous clothes, lamps, sculpture, the whole charade. That you can behave almost like an ordinary person without seeming slovenly or careless as a ruler or when carrying out official obligations. He was thankful to the gods and indebted to them that I had the kind of brother I did, one whose character challenged me to improve my own, one whose love and affection enriched my life. Is this what your siblings do for you, your friends do for you? That my children weren't born stupid or physically deformed. I am thankful to the gods for that every day, although some days I wonder. My children, I'm thankful to the gods and indebted to them that my children weren't born stupid or physically deformed. That I wasn't more talented in rhetoric or poetry or other areas. If I'd felt that I was making better progress, I might never have given those things up. That I conferred on the people who brought me up on on honors they seemed to want early on, instead of putting them off since they were still young, with the hope that I'd do it later. I knew that Apollonius and Rusticus and Maximus, or that I knew these three, that I knew Apollonius, Rusticus, and Maximus. He's indebted to the gods for his friends. That I was shown clearly and often what it would be like to live as nature requires. The gods did all they could through their gifts, their help, their inspiration, to ensure that I could live as nature demands. We got about a minute left. Let's see if I can finish this section. And that if I failed, it's no one's fault but my own. To what they taught me practically, step by step, that my body has held out, especially considering the life I've led. He's indebted to the gods. That I never laid a finger on Benedicta or on Theodotus, and that even, those are historical points we'll cover another time, and that even later, when I was overcome by passion, I recovered from it. There were times I was overcome by passion, but I overcame it. I recovered. That even though I was often upset with Rusticus, I never did anything I would have regretted later, he says. And even though she died young, at least my mother spent her last years with me. And then we'll pick up where we left off on this tomorrow, because we got to wrap this for tonight. So, guys, stick around, because we're going to go into the captain's cabin right after this. And I appreciate you being here. And so for now, all I'm going to say is live long and prosper.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
And hey, we're not back. We just actually never left. But we are off air over at the radio station. And you hear a little bit of an echo. You hear my God voice. Oh, it turned itself off automatically. How about that? I didn't know it would do that. So I guess I set up the recordings and now it has turned itself off automatically. That's pretty cool. So we'll see if it has my recordings, my sessions. There it is, Intrepid radio program, web audio. Good. So we got it for tomorrow's archives. So, folks, welcome to the captain's cabin. All right, we're going to take a little time to kick back. Not much. We'll see how it goes. Friday night, we definitely won't have it, captain's cabin. You know, we might not even have a show on Friday night because I have my daughters in from out of town. And Rainey and I, as she announced it during the show when she stepped in, we've got all kinds of scouting activities to do with the kids this weekend. And I don't want to leave her in the lurch because, I can't help with all the activities because I have a radio show to do. So I may have to step away for Friday, so expect it that I won't be here on Friday evening. But we'll have some great archives for you. The only way I'll be here is if things end and I'm back here at 9 o'clock. So my daughter's flight comes in at 8:30. They're renting a car and they're driving out here. So you might get to meet them on Friday. Maybe I don't have to be anywhere Friday because Rainey said yesterday something about, they'll be here at least for the captain's cabin. So there you go. So, hey, David Castle, nice to see you. Glad that you're here. Good to see you, brother. You got to come in at the beginning of the show sometime. So, but it's good to have you here. Captain's cabin. Matthew Sainsbury, you got to say it like a pirate. Captain's cabin. Is Uncle Dave still here? He can do a pirate voice much better than I can. He played a pirate for decades. Let's see. Uncle Dave, if you're there, make yourself known. Or call into the show or something. I don't know if you got something going or not. Matt Finn, good to see you, brother. I got to see you just as we were starting, I do believe. And Iowa X, glad you're here, brother. Glad to see you. It warms me heart. Me hearties. Sean Stroik, I'm glad you're here. Put some rum in it to thin out the sugar. I don't know what you're talking about there, but I oversugared today. I was on the phone, a couple of long phone calls today. And toward the end of the second phone call, I was feeling it. I was feeling like, boy, I haven't eaten yet today. And it was mid-afternoon, and my blood sugar was low. And when I get low blood sugar, I get to feeling kind of spazzy in the head. I have control of it. I just feel tired. It's like all of a sudden you're wrung out and you feel like, oh, man, I can't think straight. And I knew it was coming. I felt it coming. So I walked in through the garage because I'd been sitting outside on the phone, and I went to the deep freeze and I pulled out a popsicle. And it was a weird kind of popsicle, something I'd never had before. It was kind of, I don't know. The texture was different. It was softer. Rainey said something about it being a taffy sickle or something. But that didn't seem right. But Rainy? Oh, Rowan, what are those popsicles that we got today? What are those made out? Were they taffy or something?
I don't know.
Hey, come here.
What?
Say hi to everybody.
No.
Naughty.
What?
What? You can't even say what you got attitude? You can't say hi to people? There she is. Her hair matches your red scarf matches your eyes. So what's with the hat and the tude right now?
Leave me alone.
Did you get in trouble for something?
I'm an annoying piece of poop. I
Are you in trouble for something? Are you feeling
I'm
recompense?
tomorrow.
You're getting the recompense of your actions? She said she's getting arrested tomorrow. Okay. Well, I'm glad the police informed that ahead of time. So she did those. I'll find out after the show. So, it's the whole soul tribe, says Delaney Pearl Jones. Yes, it is. Oh, let's give Dave Potter the link, shall we? Let me find it here. Where is it? Right there. Clipboard, copied. And I'm going to paste this right here, Uncle Dave. Paste and send to the chat room. There you go. So we'll get Uncle Dave in here, and he'll be a pirate for us tonight. I shiver me timbers. Swab the deck, you. Avast. There, do I sound like a scary pirate? Ooh. Avast. I'll be cutting your gullet open from stem to stern, and we'll hang you out on the jib, we will. We'll keel haul ya. There he is. There's Uncle Dave. Let's bring him in. Boom, Uncle Dave. How you doing? Hello?
Hey.
There he is. There's Uncle Dave. Oh, there he is. You got to turn down your sound a little bit.
I'm good.
Feedback from the show.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Do I have something?
I can.
muted?
You're listening to you're listening to the playback, which was offset. So
How's
got
that?
me? How's that? Can you hear me live?
Oh, you can.
I can, he says. He was a great
Here, I'll give
pilot.
you a quick little view.
Yeah, let's see this thing. This is the mural he's been working on in a closet for a child and set design. There it is up close and personal. Let's see how that tree operates. There it is. And he built this little dollhouse into the wall and built
Complete
three-dimensional.
with growth rings.
Whoa. How old is that tree?
I don't know. I'm not going to count it. And then little doors down here. Can you see those?
I saw those. Do they open?
They do not.
Oh,
But
they're locked to outsiders.
yeah.
So it's looking really nice. I
Got
like
a little bumblebee here.
Nice.
I found a paint smudge on the leaf, and rather than getting rid of it, I just painted stripes on it and turned it
Just
into a
make
bee.
something work. Yeah.
Happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say.
That's a happy little accident. So, by the way, if you've seen statues of Marcus Aurelius, Bob Ross, separated at birth.
Well, by several births, actually, probably.
Yeah, probably several births. Yeah, that's awesome, Dave.
So
I would love to do a little project.
I'm going to
like
drive
that.
out there Friday, and you're not going to do a show when you
Okay.
have me live in studio?
Oh,
But-
yeah, we'll probably do a show. I was just trying to think of what all activities Rennie has lined up and things she has to do. So, if I'm here and I don't have to be anywhere to help her with anything, I'm doing a show.
Well,
And
'cause
hopefully
isn't
we'll have
everything
Abby and
happening on
Bryn on the
Saturday?
show. Huh?
Isn't everything really happening on Saturday?
It does, but there's stuff going. It's pea soup days.
Oh, I see.
It's like
Well, you know,
lumberjack days.
how complicated could it be having 20 kids do a sleepover?
Yeah, really. You just put them to bed, right?
Yeah. All right, kids, time for bed. It's 6 o'clock and well past your
And
bedtime.
well past it. Sleepovers have nothing to do with sleep. So what are you doing? Did you say you're getting arrested tomorrow?
Leave me alone.
Congrats.
Rowan, come to the camera.
She went out the door and
Oh.
slammed it. Is he part of her
I
age
did hear the
right
slam.
now?
I thought it was her bedroom door slamming.
No. That was the downstairs door going upstairs.
Oh.
Part of her thing right now at 10 years old is I must
Boundaries?
act like I'm 17 to 20 and I can quip with you the way a
Yeah, that's
20-year-old can.
That's
And
10.
it's like, you know
That's
what?
10. That's
You know
normal.
what?
That's 10.
I don't know how
That's 10.
normal that is.
No.
But,
I see it all over the place with my friends that have kids that are in that age group. Yeah.
Well,
It's
no.
because this is
Amend
where
that. Amend that, though. You're seeing that from friends who have kids now in 2020 that are that age group. Kids
Okay,
haven't been that way
but
for a long time.
but there's
So what's
like
your problem?
these,
What's going on over there? You want to share it with us?
there's
What's going on? You want to talk about
boundary
it?
levels, and they're checking them.
Come on.
You off if you want to
What? She would flip me off if I wouldn't yell at her for it, she just said. So she's not going to
Uncle Dave does not approve.
She's gone. She's out of the room.
You can tell her, Uncle
She's
Dave.
probably, my guess is she's not getting something that she wanted done a certain way.
Oh,
Rainey, that's my guess.
she's got the big sleepover coming. Flynn's got boys sleeping over. Why can't I have a boy sleepover?
She's got girls sleeping. Yeah, that'd be wrong for her. Yeesh. So,
This is Bentley's fault.
Michelle Cannon-Priest says, "Hello, Mr. Potter."
Potter.
Mr. Potter,
Yeah.
did you finish your assignment for spell class?
I did.
I can't do Severus Snape, but
I did.
yeah,
I
there you
actually finished my class. I ate at the Egan Arms tonight, which is
Yeah.
a Irish pub in Egan.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
For those that don't know, it's owned by the people that own Merlin's. It's a good place.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know
And,
Bill Watkins. Does Bill Watkins own Merlin's anymore? Or is he just their spokesman? He had some interest in Merlin's. Merlin's Rest, by the way, folks, is a little Irish pub.
Did you say Bill Locken? Bill Locken doesn't own.
Bill Watkins.
Oh, Watkins. Yes. I believe he's the one that I believe they still own it. Yes.
Yeah.
Or partners in it.
He wrote a trilogy of books, on a Celtic childhood and stuff like that. He's Irish, Scottish and Irish, and
he's old Royal Navy.
Old Royal Navy. And he would come on Friday nights, which was kilt nights down at Merlin's Rest, and would always wear his kilt. And if you wore a kilt down to Merlin's Rest, do they still do this? On kilt night, do you get a free Guinness?
I don't know. I seldom wear.
Your first Guinness was free if you wore your kilt. So, yeah, we always had a good time going down there. I had my 50th birthday party there, and Bill Watkins was there. So
I have photographs of that in my Facebook page.
Yeah, me too. Yes. So we were all in our kilts. That was good.
I'll be having my free Guinness. And when I finish, I'll be having my free harp.
I'll be having my free Guinness.
And when I'm finished with the harp, I'll be having my free.
That's right. The one, don't go for the one, don't go for the one, for the one, for the one, don't go for the one, don't go for the one, for the one, for the one, for the one. Then it went down fast. The second did too. 3 or 4 more was a fine. How do you too? And it goes on. So.
Oh, what a great day.
That's a great day.
I'm not getting much done on the painting tonight. I stopped at the Egan Arms and I had 2 Guinnesses and a whiskey. I'm just now, so I've finished all the additions. There's nothing new to, I say there's nothing new to add, but I painted a wee acorn last night in the corner and I thought, I need to add some more acorns. I need to add some more acorns because those look adorable. And then I put some twigs and stuff on the ground. And
that's the thing. When you do something on a mural, you're an artist and you go, oh, I painted a couple of little acorns up in here and they looked really nice and I really liked it. And then you step back the next day and you go, that looks really dumb having just one acorn. Now I can either paint it out or I can start painting 1 million more of those. So you start painting the 1 million more, you get about 43 in and you go,
okay,
why did I even start painting acorns?
You see the acorn?
Oh, there it is. A cute little sweet
and a wee twig
acorn
laying
all
over
by
here.
himself.
You know, and the
And a
lovely
dowsing
mushrooms.
rod.
The lovely mushrooms. Even a wee mushroom
nice.
peeking out from behind the corner of a tree.
A wee little mushroom all
And
by
I put a
himself over
branch
there
on the
behind
ground over
tree.
here. Can you see the branch?
I see the branch.
And a few dead leaves. And I thought, well, it's a huge forest and there's only 3 dead leaves. That doesn't seem
I need
right.
more dead leaves.
So I should put some more dead leaves.
Unless it's the very beginning.
Well, who's ever heard of
autumn?
just one acorn falling, even though it fell not far from the tree? Which
Well, you can make up a backstory. All the squirrels have gathered them up and they missed one.
Oh, that's grand. That's grand.
7-Eleven wish, says Barbie D.
Wee tiny little mushrooms off in the distance. And little tiny doors on trees, and bigger doors on closer trees, and biggest.
You should have made all those doors working doors.
No.
What's behind this one?
So what I have to deal with now is I'm trying to lay shadows in. You know how leaves fall and they drop a shadow on the leaves behind. So I'm trying to go through and do that. And then
undappling.
I've got to put some dappled sunlight. I've got a beam of sunlight coming through the leaves here. I've got to make a spot for it on the ground here where it's hitting the ground because it just stops. And light doesn't tend to do that.
Right.
So I've got some little things like that. I have a very curious cat that does not understand this tree that it's not allowed to climb.
Like, I could claw that to shit if you gave me a chance.
You just give me a chance.
Yeah.
I think the hard coat will keep it from. It's pretty good.
Hopefully.
And I've got to install there's a door catch and a magnet.
I like that section behind you right there. I like the depth going back into the corner.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy with that. That's
really nice.
That's joyous. And
I really like it. And I like if you swing over to the other end, I love the long shadows.
Oh, the long shadows, yeah.
Those, and then on the right side of the tree as well. Right
the
there.
Shadows coming across
long
here.
shadows coming across.
Yeah. And the shadows are
really
technically
nice.
So if you're standing here and you're looking north, now you're facing north in the forest, we got moss coming up on the north side of the trees. Mm-hmm. Okay, so sunrise is coming up, creating these long shadows. And when you turn to the east, the shadows are coming towards you. And when you turn to the west, the shadows are going away from you.
See, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
it's pretty cool.
I tied the whole perspective in. And then up above, there's a shelf line here where a shelf will go in, and up above it's everything that's far away. You've got a mountain range, you've got a waterfall coming down the mountain, a river coming through there, some little waterfalls. The river meanders through. You occasionally see it through the trees and things, and then
I like that.
The lake. And then the shelf line.
Does the river come into the foreground at all?
Just as much as the shelf line.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because there'll be a shelf up here and a coat rack and all of that to go in. So
it's nice stuff. I like it.
I mean, I could walk away from it now, and the 7-year-old's ecstatic, and the family's ecstatic. They love it.
Are they home yet?
They'll be home on the 15th. The artist,
good.
Every time I look at it, I go, oh, I should fix that. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, why didn't I do this? So
right.
But you know how that is. We're never done. We're never satisfied.
We're never done. We're never satisfied.
Even when I was costuming, I would see people walk by and something I made and go, oh, you know, if I just stitched this like that, maybe I should borrow that back for the weekend and change that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like.
And sometimes you just have to say, done is good.
It's done. It's done.
Done is good.
Did you see so now, hold on a second. I'm taking you to another room. This is what started everything. Okay, so take a look in these beige, lovely.
Uh-oh, I lost you. You're gone. Dave is lost and gone forever. Oh, my darling Uncle Dave. He'll call back in. unless he just doesn't even know yet that he's gone. That's a possibility too. So, anyway, put that back where it belongs. He'll come back in. He might not know he's gone. So, Dave, if you could hear us, well, you can't because you're gone. I think he walked through the house and he lost his connection. So, oh, see, he's back. He realized it. There he is. He's back.
I left the room and it went dark. And I was like,
it went dark.
Did I walk out of the internet? How's the internet only in the kids'
room?
Yeah. Okay, so see around me all this beige?
Yes.
The entire 3-floor house, every single room, every closet, everything. Contractor beige. Okay?
Wait a minute. On the right, the left side of the door jamb over there, is it left or right? Because I don't know if you're backwards. There's a red box or something on the wall. That's what I thought that was. Star Trek. The Star Trek communicator.
Oh, hey, he's a Star Trek geek. Alexa,
come up and hit it with his fist.
Bedroom lights on.
Bedroom lights on. There you go. Watch this, folks. Bedroom lights off. Oh, it didn't work. Very nice. There's all your that's like painting your 1,000,000 acorns.
Yes.
So those
there's a corner cherry tree. So this started with me saying, okay, well, your wife is coming from Vietnam and she's used to color. And every room is beige. She's going to get here, look around, and get back on the plane, right?
Be respectful or go.
We started by changing the color of the rooms. Okay, gave it some lovely turquoisey sort of blue color. And then I did a jade wall that's like got a highlight in the center, like it's back illuminated, and then colored around. And then I added Vietnamese pots and floral things that are
very nice.
Reminder from I've got to come in now. I've got to lay in sunflower seeds. I've got about, I don't know, 1,500 little seeds, one at a time to paint in there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's next week's work.
And that's where you use the fan brush and you make pretty little seeds.
And I've got this side of the tree's more or less done, but this side of the tree still has
rather barren.
Blossoms without branches attached to it. So I've got to work in all those branches, and I've got to do foreground blossoms up above where I've got the mass I do a mass blossom thing, and then I do foreground blossoms like this that are more detailed.
I can tell you, I watched when you started painting that, and I thought I'd have done that a totally different way. Not a better way, just a way that
all I wanted was a single branch coming in with 4 or 5 offshoots with blossoms on it. And he's like, well, what's that branch attached to? A tree off scene, off camera. We don't see it. It's just the branch in the foreground. And he's like, well, it's a wall. It's not a movie scene. People won't know that. They'll just wonder why that branch. And I'm like, I said, dude, this is done all the time in interior decorating. Just a branch with some cherry blossoms to evoke that Asian theme. And he's like, no, it's got to. Jim is an engineer.
Oh yeah, so, well there you go. So gotta have a trunk to it.
Purpose to everything. So, I mean, okay, so we built this chalkboard back here.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like 5-ply with molding attached to it and a chalkboard that slides in and out so it can be changed and updated or even put in a whiteboard when she gets older.
Nice.
And then engineering on that took a month just to get it all laid out right so that we could build it. And then it took us a week to build it. And then there was days worth of sanding and adjusting and sanding and adjusting. And then I want it gold. Okay. We picked up some gold paint. Nope, that doesn't seem like gold. So we hunted around until we found a paint that had the right amount of metallic content in the suspension to give it
that's important.
Gold. And then he's like, you know what? You should really take gold leaf and highlight areas.
Oh,
okay. Well, let's think about that. I'm going to just put the gold leaf over here. Let's put the thing on the wall and let's think about that gold leaf.
Yeah.
Like, so we're not there yet, but that might happen this week too. Gold leaf on the raised areas to make it really pop.
Oh, yes.
And
More
then I've got to
important.
find a home for all these little cottages. I don't know if you see these.
You can just hang them on hooks on your painting.
Well, actually, they're going to go along the floor. So
Cool.
I've got her all these little fairies. I don't know if you can see that in the camera.
Yeah.
And so I've got to place those all around the painting, and some of them will be in the cottage and so on and so forth. It's an interactive closet, she'll have something to do in there all the time.
It looks
this
fun.
this kid is going to have, this will be the house that all the kids want to come and play at.
Yeah.
Which
cool.
From the standpoint of her mom and dad, I'm cool with that because you know where your kids are.
Yes.
Your house is like that. You've got all the kids coming over and playing at your house all the time. And you know what?
Time.
I'm totally cool with, I was that way with my kids too. Totally cool with being the dad that's home and has all the kids running around, because then I know where my kids are and I'm not going, oh, it's 4:00 and I haven't seen my kids since 8 this morning. Where the hell are they? When I was a kid, we never played at our house. We played at other kids' houses all the time. I said during the summertime, I would see my mom and dad at breakfast time. They would leave for work and I would leave the house and I wouldn't come back until 7 or 8, sometimes 10.
You know, if I had my way, my house would be like a movie set. Because it would be when you and I did my basement over at the old house when Rainey and I were first together. And we made a basement room. Folks, you know the typical basement, a typical ranch-style house with the long, skinny basement, a wall running down the middle with the utilities on one end, on the one side of the wall, and a room on the other with usually a concrete floor and linoleum, or this had paneling. And we didn't want to rip off all the paneling and go through that, so we put plaster on the paneling to cover up all the grooves in the old paneling. And we put plaster on, and then we made it look rough plaster. We put up beams all the way around the room to make it look like an old timbered building on the inside, and then took paint like Dave's doing there and painted all around the beams and everything and make it look aged and cracked. And so we did all that kind of stuff in there and turned it into an old 15th century looking pub, my downstairs. And that's where we had people. And that's what you do. I want to make.
Look at this Barbie dream house thing.
I see it.
This kid is so spoiled.
Crazy. My kids had one of those. I think Rowan had one of those that Abby and Bryn bought for her a few years when she was younger, 5 or 6. So.
Then I've got glow-in-the-dark paint, and I'm going to lay a star field in on the
nice
popcorn ceiling in glow-in-the-dark paint, so when the lights go off, stars will come out.
Nice. I still want to do that in my bedroom for Rainey and I. I saw a really cool one, a map to do the actual constellations and like thousands of stars. And it was all a big map that you would lay it out, and it's got holes punched in it. And you paint the little dots in different sizes of all the different constellations. I'm not talking like, and here's your Big Bear. Here's Ursa Major. Bloop, 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 bloop. No, it wasn't like that. It was like the sky full of stars, the Milky Way and all of that. And when it was glow in the dark, that whole thing lit up.
Yeah.
Like a night sky. It was just crazy. I still want to do that in Rainey's in my master bedroom, so we can lay there at night and go, hey, honey, let's go camp under the stars. So,
you know what house would have been perfect for that?
What?
The Larpenter house.
Or well, that's where we did the
Portland Avenue house.
Oh, the Portland house, yeah.
With
the big house I had
corner?
just before I met Rainey. Yeah. It was had an upstairs, downstairs, fireplaces up and down, finished basement. Sat on a full acre of land in Bloomington, a suburb of Minneapolis, by the Mall of America area. Busy street, but we were set way back off the street. I remember counting, we had 26 old growth trees in the front yard. And It's set on an acre of land in a typical neighborhood where, everybody had their 16th of an acre, just a suburban neighborhood, and back then I thought this was really expensive, and it was back then, but by today's standards, they wanted $330,000 for that house. And I was, I don't have it. That was back at the time when Mac was selling me the ranch for $169,000, 40 acres plus the ranch house for $169,000. And so 330 was just too steep for my blood. I was renting with the option to buy. And when it came down to being able to buy it, okay, we're ready to have you buy it. And we need to have $30,000 down and we can enter into a contract for deed. And I was like, I don't have 30,000. So blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there you go. So, well, it's looking good over there. Oh, your sound's gone. Unless it's me.
Sorry. No, I hit the mute.
That's all right.
Mute. But yeah, I plan to drive out there on Friday. It's been a while since I've been out. So.
Yes. Michelle Cannon, for your right. Painted looks cottagey. If you want a cottage, yeah. I don't like paneling. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Dark wood paneling, Sean Stroik says, maybe if you do it historically looking. You know what I want to do?
I did a naughty pine inside the motorhome.
I likes me some naughty pine too. You know what we need to do when I finally build our shipping container home, which will hopefully be next year. I want to do a room that's done like the inside of Bag End. I saw a guy do that with a room about the size of.
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that, and it was stagecraft.
Yeah.
Well,
let me tell you, Bag End is stagecraft too.
It's all stagecraft. Yeah.
Yeah, because there isn't a Hobbit home anywhere where a 7-foot tall man can walk around in. I'm just telling you.
Just telling you. Now, Peter Jackson rebuilt the sets for Bag End as real rooms in his house. And he's got a long...
That surprised me.
It's a long hallway, and he has all kinds of people over. He's had Ian McClellan there and all different kinds of famous actors and movie people, and they come there. He loans it out to them as weekend retreats and things to write and do things. But he's built the whole thing, and it's underground. He's built it in the long hall at the end of a long hallway in the downstairs of his house, and only it's real construction work. Hey,
hi. You're still on here? You're missing all the freaking drama upstairs.
Yeah, well, what happened with Rowan?
Because Rowan was being kind of a little douchey bag down here. Hold on, let me get this off.
I need an Apple charger.
I need some splaining. What's going on?
Apple charger.
I need an Apple cord.
There's one plugged into a. Hang on, folks. Little business here.
Rainy, I want some splaining. What did Rowan do?
That might be it. No, that's not
She's just being bitchy. She didn't get to go to Walmart today.
What's this connected to?
I don't know.
I just unplugged something.
Why are the police coming to arrest her?
No one's coming to arrest her.
That's what she said.
Oh my God, she's being bitchy. What?
Okay, I'm looking for it here, Rainy. Right here. Here's an Apple USB to an Apple, whatever they call that end.
So
one of those.
Waylon got freaked out and refused to tell Rowan where Isla and I went. And so he freaked out and called his dad, and his dad freaked out and is yelling at him. So Waylon's all upset. His dad, I don't know if he's going to come pick up the kids now or not, because Rowan's being a total twat monkey.
Monkey.
She's being bitchy because she's not getting her way.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't let her have 2 cans of SpaghettiOs. I told her only 1, because half the time she only eats half the can.
And we leave her food that she prepares. If you're going to prepare it, you know what? You got to clean it up, okay? Because you're not eating the same dinner the rest of the family's eating. She'll go prepare it, and she'll leave it. And we just leave it for her. Did you clean up your mess from 2 nights ago? It's still sitting on the stove for you. You need to clean that. So, you know how it goes.
I'm really loving this moss. It has a lot of depth and dimension to it.
The moss. There are certain things I do when I do murals or illustrations that there are portions of the illustration where I go, that I wish I could highlight that. I hope people look at that portion of the illustration.
Well, so I did a drainage with this mossy, soupy drain, drain it down the.
I see that.
And James is like, what's oozing out of the tree? And I said, that's the drainage.
That's drainage.
And the steps are sloped so that they go towards the drain.
Let's see that. Center on that again so I can see that. The drainage. Yeah, there you go. Very nice. I love that.
Little touches.
You know what I like to watch? You know whose videos I like to watch? Is Weta Studios, W-E-T-A, Weta or Weta, that did all the work for Lord of the Rings. And all their model building and their model buildings of the cities and, Minas Tirith.
Yeah.
And
so here's another thing I really like. So there was
Helm's Deep.
This dollhouse was supposed to open like a book. So it's a left and a right side. And we took that out and made it a top and a bottom. So it's more floors going up, right?
Okay.
And there was the original doorway was cut there. And we were like, well, where's that going to go? So I painted in a staircase behind it. You see that?
I see it.
And I love that too. To just that give, like, there's stairs going up to maybe up to the little tower room up here. I don't know.
You know what I saw done? You know those little bookshelf miniature dioramas they'd put that go in between your books into a bookshelf and sit real deep, and you can build little dioramas in cities. They've got like Harry Potter's Diagon Alley that you can
I love those.
Some of those. I saw one done where it's of a, they've got like a cathedral on the back wall of this thing that's painted, or a photo or something that's done, the artwork. But you're looking down like an alleyway, like that, a stone alleyway, and it's got an archway at the end of the alley, and a stairway that goes up and curves out of view. But they've done this with a mirror. They've got a little mirror in there that they put on the back side of like, you go down the alley and you put it on the back side there, and it reflects something in, and it's just really cool.
Cool.
The things that you can do with those little dioramas. I saw one done of Bag End again that looked like you were actually standing outside at the Shire and looking at Bag End, and it was all built up. And he showed all the ways he did it with all on pieces of foam and wood and little things and paints and this.
I saw one where they had like a little door. You have a room and there was a door along the mopboard, and when you open that door and the camera went in, it was the apartment from Seinfeld.
That's crazy. Who would do that?
I don't know.
It's down there. It's right on the mopboard.
Yeah.
But I would do that. I would do that for my books. I would build something like that with a diorama, because to me, I would do that because I enjoy that. I would love to create something where you get to go into that little world for a minute, and enjoy it. And
I think she's going to have a lot of fun in here. That's the whole concept was to give her some place to come where there's a little beanbag chair to go in here for her to sit and read books and have this little magical forest in her closet that nobody else has and nobody else knows about.
Yeah. Well, Dave, I think I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. Hopefully we'll have Friday night with the kids. When Abby and Bryn get here, they can join us in the captain's cabin, and we'll set them up on either side of me or something, and have them in here. And let's call it quits for tonight. I'm doing okay, but I think I need to go upstairs and see what's going on up there rather than just continue talking here. And, Rainey's not having a rough time. She knows how to handle it all.
I know.
Rowan sometimes needs a little chair and a whip. So, good night, Michelle.
Uncle Dave does not approve. This kind of attitude.
Uncle Dave does not approve. All right, everybody.
All right.
You all have a good night. Dave, I'm going to let you go. See ya. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Boom. All right, it's back to just me. And hey, Flynn. And so I'm going to get out of here. So everybody, I appreciate the fact that you come in here. I love the fact that you're here. And we'll see you again here tomorrow night. So you know what? Live long and prosper.